Whenever you see a spinning ball curve, float, or dip in an odd way away from its original flight path, it probably makes you wonder, how? What makes this ball curve? Or how do they just bend the ball in the air? I hate to break it to you, but it's not magic, but physics. And this specific part of physics covers the reasons behind how spinning objects move through the air. We call it the Magnus Effect. In 1672, Isaac Newton was observing tennis players and analysing the spin they put on the ball. This was the first ever mention of such an effect. In 1742, Benjamin Robbins, a mathematician and engineer, also described deviations in projectiles of musket balls in reference to the Magnus Effect. So then, how did this biomechanical theory get the name of the Magnus Effect? Well, just like many other discoveries, it was named after the first person to conclude the findings, and his name was Heinrich Gustav Magnus. He described this effect in 1852 whilst studying the flight of cannonballs. Magnus described this as the phenomenon of generating a force on a spinning spherical solid in a fluid. Any bit confusing? Let's break it down. You may think of air as light, insignificant stuff when talking about its effect on projectiles, but really it can be heavy and it tremendously affects everything in flight. Magnus found that when a ball or any object is spinning, there is a force perpendicular to the spin axis. By applying basic physics law in that high pressure will always try to travel to low pressure, we can conclude that when a ball has topspin, high air pressure is above the ball and low air pressure below, meaning that the force is down, so the ball will go down. If it has backspin, the high air pressure is below the ball and low air pressure above, meaning that the force is up, so the ball will almost float upwards. Furthermore, as the ball is spinning through the air, airflow is affecting the ball by flowing into and around the ball from the front to the back. Therefore, the ball is spinning in the same direction as the airflow at the top of the ball. However, friction is present in between the air and the surface of the ball, so air is then dragged around the top of the ball, heading down towards the back. On the other side of the ball, the airflow is heading in the opposite direction of the ball's rotation, resulting in the air being deflected downwards due to Newton's third law, creating an equal opposite force on the ball. In other words, when a ball or object spins, streamlines of air surrounding it start to flow in different directions, creating regions of low and high pressure areas. This pressure difference then intervenes with the spinning object's original flight path. The ball will deviate by creating backspin, topspin, or side spin, and this principle is known as the Magnus Effect. The force of the Magnus can be calculated by Fm equals S times W and V, where Fm equals the Magnus force vector, W equals angular velocity vector of the object, V equals velocity of the object, S equals air resistance coefficient across the surface of the object. So once Fm is found, kinematic equations can be used to predict the characteristics of the spinning objects in flight, aka it is extremely difficult to calculate the flight path. So I have some demonstrations to show you. These are just two demonstrations of when athletes apply incredible amounts of the Magnus Effect in multiple directions. The Magnus Effect can be seen in any sport that uses a ball shaped as a sphere, such as table tennis, tennis, volleyball, golf, or cricket. The Magnus Effect can be very beneficial to athletes if utilized correctly. Here are just 3 examples of when athletes can utilize the Magnus Effect for a better outcome. When playing tennis or table tennis, hitting the ball with topspin will give you an extremely higher chance of hitting the ball in, as well as with pace, making it harder for your opponent to predict the position of the ball, ultimately giving you a better chance of winning. Pitching in baseball, the Magnus Effect helps them create a wide range of deviation, making it extremely hard for the batter to predict where to contact the ball, giving the pitcher a bigger advantage. Also, the best golfers in the world would not be able to accurately hit more than 200 meters without the Magnus Effect. When a ball is struck by a driver, the ball is forced into a spin, usually backspin, thus making the golf ball curve upwards, resulting in further distance. Also, controversially, the 2010 FIFA World Cup match ball was criticized as the Magnus Effect of the ball was different to previous match balls. The ball seemed to fly further with less controllable swerve, making players unhappy due to not being able to always be accurate. The Magnus Effect adds interest to ball sports as athletes can manipulate the ball in fascinating ways. It is good, almost necessary, if you are an elite athlete or an aspiring elite athlete to understand the Magnus Effect so you can take it to the next level.